15th in the series of James Bond review. This is the living day up to 1987 with a brand new Bond, Timothy Dalton. He was 41 years old at the time of recording. Timothy Dalton had been approached before as playing Bond, even as early as For Your Eyes Only. However, they originally going to be turning to Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan was a brand new young actor. However, Pierce Brosnan declined the role actually, and so it fell into Timothy Dalton's hands as the new Bond. So yeah, 41 years old, quite a bit younger than, visually of course at least, than Roger Moore, who was clearly aging in the last film. Straight away though, we get Timothy Dalton's clear opening character as Bond we see in this British Overseas Territory of Gibraltar scene, which I think is a very good opening sequence and portrays well that Timothy Dalton is clearly a very serious Bond, which is one of the reasons why he can be quite underrated, isn't it? That people find him too serious and no jokes compared to the Roger Moore series. Not to mention, unlike the Roger Moore series, Timothy Dalton didn't even have a stuntman. He did pretty much all the stunts on himself, which is also very impressive. So overall, it's a very good, promising opening to the film with just a little standalone adventure, with not too much significance apart from, of course, the "My name is Bond" line at the end of it, introducing us to the new Bond. And yes, in this film we do finally get a brand new Moneypenny. Definitely a good rebound of the cast. I do like it quite well, and it works quite nice to have a new Moneypenny, and you got the good chemistry between Bond and Moneypenny still there. So it does, good old Bond with the new, which I think works out quite well. And also for the first time in for 20 years, over 20 years since 20 years there, since 1967's For Your Eyes Only, James Bond is actually driving an Aston Martin, and that's an Aston Martin V8 Vantage. I mean, he was still driving British cars like the Lotus, but the Aston Martin coming back is quite a nice feature, which I think worked quite well as well. And in this one, we're going to introduce a bit more about the plot of the film. The plot of the film is about one man who is very interested in guns and violence, about how he can control the world slightly. Well, not necessarily control the world, but just how his guns and violence lead to some terror across the world. So yeah, much more down-to-earth Bond film, serious Bond film, like I said earlier. And yeah, I think it is a very good thing. I do like how the film works. I don't think it's too unrealistic, of course, but it's very good. Late Cold War era, secret agent kind of Russians versus the British, well, East versus West agents. And we also get introduced to the key henchman of the film, who kills people by strangling with his headphone laces, which is fine. And the next thing we get in that, this was filmed in the now capital of Slovakia, back then it was Czechoslovakia, still behind the Eastern Bloc in the Warsaw Pact. And we get Cara Melovi, who is played by Marama Diapolo, who is the Bond girl for the film. And I think she's quite good actually, again with Timothy Dalton. They work quite well together, it's quite serious, all about the mission. And she does have ties to one of the key villains, and General Gorgi makes his final appearance at the end of the film as the Russian agent as well. And I love this scene where the Aston Martin shows off its gadgets, very, very similar to the DB5, and like Goldfinger and Thunderball, all its gadgets and how it works, and it's very, very good thrilling scene, this definitely is the stronger of the Timothy Dalton films. I think this film is very underrated. I do like it rather a lot, and I've only seen it just recently actually. I never saw it until about 3 or 4 months ago. This scene chasing on the ice is actually very reminiscent of course, Die Another Day or What Would to Come, but we'll get to review when we get there. It's very, very good. I mean, he clearly did spin out a wider track than that, but the car falling in the ice works quite well. And this scene right here was definitely a big shout to For Your Eyes Only with the skiing down the hill, so this could technically have been used better in a Roger Moore film, but I think it does still work. It still carries the seriousness, bit of jokes, and sliding down the hill on a cello case, which, I mean, that's fine. And we get introduced to the main villain's lair, and he basically he basically morphs himself into old figures like Napoleon, Hitler, and Caesar. I don't know why he's interested in that kind of thing. It doesn't really matter. So his mission is basically to convince Sylvester that Bond is part of the KGB. To basically think he's like an infiltrating double agent spy. So it's quite a complex plot, this film, but if you do just go along with it, it does work out quite well. It's quite difficult to explain it, but it is a very good film and it does work out quite well. And I think, as you can see, the chase scenes in Afghanistan when James Bond is there is also very, very nice. And it is a brand new setting, Afghanistan, for a Bond film. It's never really been used too much before. You know, Middle Eastern, well, not really Middle East, but, you know, Islamic world. It's very, very nice setting for a Bond film, actually. And also we get Felix Leiter finally back for the first time since Live and Let Die. So it's very nice to have Felix Leiter back. I mean, he's got a very forgettable character in this film, but, you know, it's still, you know, again, like I said, making the old Bond with the new. However, Kara is unfortunately thinks that James Bond is part of the KGB, and so drugs him with a sleeping pill. Which kills him, well, not kills him, but puts him to sleep promptly before he is about to tell her that he was the one that shot the bullet that just missed when she was playing in the orchestra. And James Bond is then put on a plane where they are smuggling diamonds into Afghanistan. And James Bond is put in a little sort of cell as soon as they get to Afghanistan. But of course, James Bond being James Bond manages to break out very easily. And whilst he is there, he coincidentally unfrees the Taliban leader. Of course, it's very, very important to remember in this film that the Taliban was backed by the West and the Americans, because of course the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in 1979 to back up the communist countries. These are the Taliban backed by the West to overthrow the communist country. Of course, you know, now in the 21st century, we now know what the Taliban are actually up to. So it's quite a creepy sort of feel to the film. You know, this is how the Taliban used to be, and this is what the Taliban are like now. But in the film, James Bond is with the Taliban trying to help overthrow one of the Russians, of course, in Afghanistan in the climax scene. So James Bond places a bomb in the plane, and it's a very, very thrilling ending to a film. You know, good fight between the henchman and James Bond. It works very nicely. I mean, a plane scene in James Bond, like with Octopussy, it's very nice. Whenever I personally am a fan of planes and Bond. I think they work out very well, and they suit his character quite well, especially Timothy Dalton. So finally, James Bond arrives at the key henchman's house and is about to kill him until he pulls out a gun with a sort of bulletproof visor on it. I mean, I'm quite surprised James Bond doesn't just shoot him in the leg at this point. I mean, he's James Bond. I know he does totally like to give a good clean shot, but a few bullets in the leg would have ended the villain quicker. So I don't know. I'm not too convinced by this ending. I don't know if it fully works. And in case you're wondering, the actor there was an Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark, and also Indiana Jones The Last Crusade. which is a bit ironic, of course. Indiana Jones, he played his father, didn't he? Sean Connery. So, yeah. So that's John Barry, actually, the head of the orchestra. So it's a very good finishing, John Barry in the orchestra, the actual actor, actual man himself. And yeah, it's a very good ending to the film. So I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.